Hey guys, welcome back to another album review. Today I'm going to be continuing the Slipknot discography reviews, and in this video I'll be talking about Slipknot's fourth studio album titled All Hope Is Gone. This album showed the band moving even further away from the nu metal label, with groove metal influences being very clear more than ever before. This album is a bit of a polarizing one among the fans, and for that reason, I'm really excited to talk about it because there's a lot to dig into here. Track 1 is Execute. It's an intro. It's mostly filled with some voice recordings playing in the background. The voice is getting progressively louder and angrier as it goes. There's like creepy background noises. There's really not much to say here. It's like almost 2 minutes long. It leads into track 2, which is Gematria, the killing name. I consider this song instrumentally a bit of a unique one in Slipknot's discography. The overall structure of this song is much more groove metal oriented more than nu metal, especially with that very good guitar solo included. The syncopated rhythm and complex lead guitars are the absolute core of this song, and I appreciate Gematria and consider it a favorite on the album, mostly because it's such a guitar-driven song that really lets the instrumental work really shine for the 6-minute runtime. And you can see that the chorus overstays its welcome a little towards the end of the song, but I don't really mind the repetitive chorus because the instruments always keep me interested enough. The chorus sounds like something that could have come off of Volume 3 in the vocal department, but other than that, this goes in a bit of a different direction in very subtle ways. Track 3 is Sulfur. This is a song I've only learned to appreciate within the last year or so. I used to be quite impatient when I was younger. I would skip past the intro because it was a little bit slow, but even within a few seconds it got quicker, so I don't know why I did that. But with this chord progression here, along with the drums and the verse, not to mention that absolutely perfect chorus, there's a lot to love about this song. The sampling is catchy, it brings me back to the self-titled days a bit. The guitar solo is uniquely All Hope Is Gone in the best way possible, and the guitar work in the chorus, along with the fantastic vocal melody, make this a standout song and a great choice for a single. Even though All Hope Is Gone has its clear issues, which I will get into further in this review, we're so far experiencing the absolute positives of this album. The most surprising positive here, in my opinion, is the complex guitar work. I really think Mick Thompson and especially Jim Root, the lead guitarist, really stepped up their game big time on this album, and I really appreciate that. Track 4 is Psychosocial. Within a few seconds, the catchiest main guitar riff on All Hope Is Gone appears, and everybody, even people who do not like the band, know exactly what song it is. Slipknot is mostly known for Psychosocial, and I couldn't be happier about that fact. It represents everything the band does best: lyrical variety, great chorus vocal melodies, rhythm-driven grooves, catchy riffs, and a bridge with entertaining guitar work that introduces a new, somehow even catchier section of the song in the bridge, which is the Limits of the Dead moment. I think that moment is one of my favorite parts about this entire song. When it comes to the melodic side of things, this song is one of Slipknot's strongest to date. This is the perfect song to introduce new people to Slipknot. Track 5 is Dead Memories. This is another single, and I would say this is one of the very few Slipknot songs where the aim was to create a very catchy hard rock song. The scream vocals are completely absent from this song. The song is still upbeat in a lot of ways, with a big melodic chorus and some nice guitar riffs in the pre-chorus along with another guitar solo, and this means every single song so far has had a guitar solo, which is really insane. You'll see them appear quite a bit on this album, and they didn't used to appear quite as much on their earlier stuff, but it definitely appears here a lot. So far, things are consistent and very solid. Very catchy hooks, very fantastic melodies overall, especially in the guitar work too, and we're just seeing the best sides of Slipknot right now. But after this is where we get into the second half of the album, where this observation starts to change. Going into track 6, we have Vendetta. And this is one of the deeper cuts on the album. We have this double bass-driven song with some different influences. In the verses, the way Corey Taylor really slides up to those notes, he's got this really full tone to his voice. He sounds like he's really trying to be soulful here, and this is something that you don't hear out of him very often. And for me, it personally reminded me a bit of LaJohn Witherspoon from Sevendust, because his vocal performances are very soulful like that too. I think it's a good thing overall. The chorus is classic anthemic Slipknot with background chants and repeated lyrics, while the bridge really changes the pace of things. It showcases Slipknot's kind of slower groove metal side. Track 7 is Butcher's Hook. The main riff that opens this song is mostly Mick and Jim playing these two notes back and forth with this really alternating timing. It's an interesting thing, and it's maybe a little tough to keep up with on first listen, but it's very easy to catch on to because they play it so often in this song. The verse continues this riff, and Corey delivers some straightforward screams before the incredibly tame melodic chorus enters in that really seems to clash with the verse and the rest of the song. The bridge doesn't really add much to this song besides yet another guitar solo, which is solid enough for sure, but not as good as the earlier solos. There's something missing, I feel like, in this one. Overall, this is the turning point in the album where All Hope Is Gone becomes very inconsistent, and I have to say for that reason it's one of my least favorite songs on the album. I do like moments in this song. The I'm giving up again has a really cool harmony line that I always love to sing, but overall, yeah, it is one of the weaker moments, I would say. Track 8 is Gehenna. I've heard many people say that this song is the skin ticket of All Hope Is Gone. This claim does make sense to me because both songs have kind of similar dark, mellow atmospheres to them, but overall, Skin Ticket from Iowa was a way better song in pretty much every aspect. Skin Ticket felt legitimately scary, and it gradually built up its dark atmosphere to some big climaxes and big intense moments, while Gehenna feels more like a Halloween song that tries very, very hard and has too steady of a progression. Like, the drums in this song are legitimately disappointing to me because they're so steady. I feel like if there was less percussion in this song, it could have came across a little more creepy. It takes an entire 2.5 minutes to reach the melodic chorus, where Corey's falsetto feels slightly off in a way. I feel like I can't even figure out if he's sharp or flat, but I know he's not perfectly on the note, and it's a little distracting. I have to give them props for trying a song like this that is out of their comfort zone, but it just kind of misses the mark for me, and usually Slipknot nails these out-of-character songs. Some examples being Circle, The Virus of Life, Goodbye, and even, Skin Ticket. Just the fact that Butcher's Hook and Gehenna, my two least favorite songs on the album, are back-to-back in the track listing is really unfortunate, and it really brings down the listening experience. Track 9 is This Cold Black, a heavy gem in the second half of the album. While Gehenna and Butcher's Hook don't click much for me, this song completely nails it. I absolutely adore this song. I love everything about it. It's arguably the heaviest or most intense track here. This song was the one that I heavily got into when I first found the band, and I still love it just as much as I did back then, maybe even more now. And much like Gematria, every single component comes together perfectly in this song, especially the guitars and drums, which are pretty creative in this song. The rhythm and the guitar riffs just work together in general, and Corey kind of sounds like he's got a grasp on his Iowa-era screams again, which is a huge plus for this song. Out of the numerous guitar solos on this entire album, this is one of the faster, more entertaining ones. What's not to love about this song? Track 10 is Wherein Lies Continue. While a lot of the songs on the album were groove metal inspired, this is the one that completely crosses the line over into the genre with its very clear Pantera influences. The sluggish main riff and the slow, steady pace of the intro and verse is something Slipknot was new to, mostly for the overly edgy lyrics in some spots. I used to call this my least favorite Slipknot song. I don't agree with that at all, actually, because there are things I like about this song. I really love the beefy tone of the main riff and the really tough attitude presented. I feel like it's pretty genuine. The biggest weak moment is the chorus for me, because the melody Corey's singing starts to sound somewhat strained by the end of the chorus. The bridge rehashes the same line over and over, with the rest of the section being essentially a third verse. Since this is a simple song, the long length of the song doesn't do it many favors. I'm pretty sure the song is 5.5 minutes long, which is kind of insane. A lot of the songs on this album are at least 5 minutes long, if not longer, which is very, very interesting. Slipknot didn't used to be like that. I remember, literally on Self-Titled, there was 2-minute long song after 2-minute long song, and that's pretty much all there was. But on this album, it's a very different story. Just like with Gehenna, props to them for trying something out of their vein, but Wherein Lies Continue seems to have a little too much ambition for its own good. Now, before you all call me a hypocrite for saying Purity is my favorite Slipknot song while also criticizing Wherein Lies Continue, I know those songs have very, very similar riffs, but Purity came first, and it pretty much nailed everything that this song did not. So that's why I love that song so much, and that's why I think this song has a lot of potential. It just kind of missed the mark. Track 11 is Snuff. So I mentioned earlier in the review that Dead Memories was Slipknot's first real attempt at a hard rock song. With Snuff, we see the band try something lighter too, but instead of a hard rock song, we instead get a heartfelt, emotional rock ballad led by conventional acoustic guitar and Corey's very vulnerable, soft voice. The subject matter is pretty straightforward in this song. It's mostly about a girl Corey Taylor was close with who he was let down by in the end, but she also in the process taught him a lot of life lessons. And the word choice in this song is vague, yet very layered, very brilliantly written. It's very easy for a lot of people to relate to, including myself for sure. This song really built up carefully to the high point with the electric guitar lead part that is just amazing. The emotion in this song is one of the most genuine things to ever come out of this band's discography, and I'm so glad this song was able to save the second half of this album for me. If only this was the closing track instead of the track that follows. And that track that follows is track 12, All Hope Is Gone. This closing track marks Slipknot's only title track in the band's catalog. In the verse it goes for Slipknot's older, quicker, thrashier sound you could say, while in the chorus it goes for more of a conventional heavy metal sound. And I like this chord progression in the chorus because it kind of sounds uneasy in a way, and the solid enough lyrics are pretty good. The catchy groove in the bridge, backed up by Craig's sampling, is pretty great in this song, even though I wouldn't consider the title track a favorite on the album, and I do wish Snuff had closed out this album instead of this song. There isn't much wrong with this song in general, other than, in my opinion, this song could have used some clean singing in the chorus to strengthen the melody section of this song, but that's not really much of a complaint. I do think it's a pretty solid song overall. To sum up all my points, for this album's disjointed spots and the second half of the album being messy in a lot of ways, except Snuff and This Cold Black of course, this would have to be my least favorite Slipknot album, and probably the band's biggest drop-off in quality considering Volume 3 is my favorite Slipknot album, and All Hope Is Gone does not share very many of Volume 3's strengths, but instead adds some new flaws. Lyrically, this album was pretty solid in most places, and I do want to make it clear that I really appreciate the instrumentation on this album, including the guitars more than anything, and the drum work of course is on point like usual. The melodies, especially the vocal melodies found on this album, were fantastic in the singles and not quite as fantastic in the deep cuts. But this album did show potential for Slipknot's future sound, and The Grey Chapter as an album seasoned a lot of the ideas that were presented on All Hope Is Gone. And so stay tuned for my Grey Chapter review. With everything considered, as strong as the singles on this album are, I have to settle for giving this album a 7 out of 10. And that might be like, you know, a 7 out of 10 is still a good score, and it is. That's why this band is one of my favorites. That is pretty much the end of my review to the standard edition of All Hope Is Gone. If you want my opinion on the deluxe tracks, I think they're great, especially Child of Burning Time because it has these gorgeous melodies to it, but unfortunately it's not on the standard edition. I think this album could have actually gotten a strong 7 out of 10 if Child of Burning Time was on there, but it's not, so whatever. I hope you guys really enjoyed this review. Leave your thoughts and opinions about this review and the album in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.